Hey everybody, so we're going to be covering the 2022 SHSAT math practice test, and you can access this through the NYC student handbook. So let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start with the Gridden questions. So question number 58. Alright, so we have a parallelogram, and we're told that PQRS is a parallelogram, and we want to know what the value of x is. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this angle right here, the angle between like S and the line. So that's 72 degrees. So since we know that like this line, there must be complementary angles, we know that this angle right there must be complementary to 72. So therefore we can calculate the measure of that angle as 180 degrees minus 72, which is 108. So then this would be 108. And due to the properties of a parallelogram, we know that this angle right there is going to be equal to that angle, that 108 degree angle. That's like one of the properties of a parallelogram, right? We also would know that whatever this angle is, this angle would be the same here. So anyway, we know that that's 108 degrees. And we're told here that this is like a right angle, so that would be 90 degrees. And then we know that like this whole thing, this whole loop, must be 360, right? Because it goes in a full loop. So we can basically define x. We just take 360 and we subtract from that our right angle plus 108 degrees. So we're just solving for the missing value. And so that would be 360 minus 90 plus 108 is 198. And so this would just be 162. And therefore x would be 162, and that would be your answer. So that problem was just a question of like solving for angles basically. Alright, so 59, the owner of a tree farm plants pine trees and oak trees in a ratio of 8:3, and we want to know how many oak trees are planted if 264 pine trees are planted. So this is basically a proportions question. So we know that for every 8 pine trees, we're going to have 3 oak. And then we basically want to know how many oak trees are planted if 264 pine trees are planted. So we have our proportion, and now we just need to solve it. So I'll do that over here. So we know that the question mark, so we're just going to cross multiply here. So the question mark is going to be equal to 3 times 264 over 8. And then here, let me divide 8 into 264. So that's 24 and then 24. Okay, so 264 divided by 8 is 33, so this is just 3 times 33, which is in turn 99. So that would be our answer here. So we have 99 oak trees planted. So now let me erase some of this so we can do question 60. Okay, so for what value of w is this equation true? So basically this is asking us to solve for w. So we can start by subtracting 2w from both sides. And then the left-hand side would be 4w minus 2w, which is 2w. And then on the right-hand side, our w's cancel out, and we're left with negative 8. So now we're going to divide by 2 on both sides. And we would get w is equal to negative 4. Okay. 61. So a survey asked students what pets they have, And based on the results, the following statements are all true. So 20 students have cats, 23 students have dogs, 3 students have both cats and dogs, and 5 students have no dogs or cats. And we want to know how many students were surveyed. So I'm going to draw a Venn diagram here. So this will be the people that have cats. This is the people that have dogs. And then I'm going to draw a rectangle here. And this rectangle represents like all students, basically. Okay, so we know that 20 students have cats. So basically what we're doing here is like, so if you look at this region, like outside of the circles, these are people who don't have either cats or dogs. This region would be people that have both cats and dogs. And then here it would be only cats, here only dogs. So that's basically what we're looking at here. So we can start by the 5 students that have no dogs or cats, right? So this is right here. And then 3 students that have both dogs and cats, right? So this right there, that's size 3. And then 20 students have cats, so I'll put it here. 23 have dogs. So this looks sort of like a straightforward question. So if we want to know like how many people have both cats and dogs, it might be tempting to say that that's 20 plus 23. But the problem here is that we would be double counting the people that both have cats and dogs, right? Because if there are 3 people that have both cats and dogs, those 3 people are counted as having cats and having dogs. So basically, if you you don't want to count it twice like that, so you have to subtract those 3 people. So this expression is like the number of people that have cats and dogs, right? So it's like, or sorry, cats or dogs. So it's like this thing right here, like all of this. And if you, yeah, I guess what I was saying about double counting was like, if you were to, right, you're counting this once when you count the number of people that have cats, that's like our 20. And then you would be counting it again when you count the number of people that have dogs. But these people should only be counted once. So you have to subtract them out once so that they're not counted twice, but that they're counted once. So anyway, that's that expression. And then the 5 people that don't have cats or dogs, you have to like add that to the expression too to find the total number of students that were surveyed. So that would be, let's see, 43 minus 3 is 40, plus 5 is equal to 45. So more generally, I guess, here, let's scroll down. More generally, let's say you have like sets A and B. If you want to know the total number of people in sets, sorry, this is not the right. So this is the notation for A or B, right? So these vertical bars basically mean like the size of people either in A or B, right? So in this case, it would be the people who either have cats or dogs. The way to calculate that, you have to take the size of A, right, and add it to the size to the number of people in B. But then you have to subtract out the people who are in both A and B. So that's represented as A and B. So this is just the formal notation. And this is sort of an axiom in combinatorics. But you don't actually have to know this. You can just like reason through it. But it might be good. It's good to know that, whenever you have this sort of intersection and you're trying to count the people in both groups, you just always have to avoid that double counting by subtracting out the people who are in both. Okay, so now 62. So the sum of two consecutive integers is negative 15. So x plus y is negative 15. If 1 is added to the smaller integer and 2 is subtracted from the larger integer, what is the product of the two resulting integers? Okay, so let's just look at let's ignore this latter part and just focus on the first sentence. So the sum of two consecutive integers is 15. So instead of writing x plus y, I'm going to say, okay, let x be the first integer, let x plus 1 be the second integer. So then x plus 1 is equal to 15. And now I want to solve for x. So 2x plus 1 is equal to 15. So then 2x is equal to 14, or x is equal to 7. I'm just going to erase this. So, okay, so x is equal to 7, so that means our consecutive integers were 7 and 8. If 1 is added to the smaller integer, so that would be 7. So 7 plus 1 would be 8. Right now I'm focusing on this. And 2 is subtracted from the larger integer, so that would be 8 minus 2, which is 6. What is the product of the two resulting integers? So the resulting integers would be 8 and 6, and so the product of 8 and 6 would be 48. Okay, so that would be 62. And yeah, so those are the Gridden questions, and in the next part of the video, or the next video, we will go on to the multiple choice questions. So I'll see you then.